So, I guess the question when it comes to our health journey is having a God centered self image, and how does that kind of relate to our health journey? Does that make a difference? Or does it impede us in some type of way? And I think if we really kind of explore that issue of why is it so important to have a God-centered self-image? When we developed the 4-day prayer for your health challenge, we started with this one because I think it's so foundational for where we kind of um, how we kind of set the tone for how we're going to approach our health journey. Because
Right.
I think it's so important to start on the right foundation when we're kind of unpacking this thing.
Yeah, because it's I think when we bring it down to like the basics, a lot of times we have this goal of fitting into our skinny dress, our skinny jeans, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's based on, I mean it goes back to like magazines we've read, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And advertisements we've seen on TV. So
yeah, because I think we're cultured, and I think what we're hoping for the whole Daniel Fast Approach to Healthy movement is being able to look at our health journey beyond the limiting concepts that we put around it.
Yeah, the cosmetic stuff.
The cosmetic stuff, the artificial stuff, the superficial stuff.
Superficial.
Because at the end of the day, who came up with the ideal image? Where are we getting our messages from?
Yeah.
And I think it's like you said, it's media, it's culture, it's what's in, what's out. And so we're always chasing this, how do I fit in? How do I measure up? When it comes to our self-image as it relates to our health journey, it's more about I want to become skinny and less about I want my body to be healthy ultimately so I can live out my purpose. Those are two different trains.
Right.
And whichever train you get on, it's going to lead you to a different destination. And I kind of believe that when you get on the train of the artificial, I want to get healthy so I can look good, so I can be fit into the dress, so I can be skinny, or whatever image that the culture gives you, it's a dead end train because it's always changing. It never, it's non-fulfilling. It's only superficially filling for the moment, but that deep yearning of a deep sense of self can't come from that.
Yeah.
And so you're always left kind of chasing this carrot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but let's talk about like where that came from. And I think, okay, so if we go way back to like prehistoric times when, I don't know, prehistoric times, but just way back. So I remember when we interviewed Dr. Mark Berries, and I asked him the question, like, why is it so important that we feel attractive? And he said, which, I thought was very illuminating, was we are it's ingrained in us to want to feel attractive because it goes back to our desire to procreate. And so we want to look attractive to attract a mate. Either way, it could go be male or female, right? Like men have the same desire as women. But what happens is that, that innate desire to want to procreate has gotten, like with everything, like with food and everything.
It's completely hijacked.
It's been hijacked and it's been marketed.
Exactly.
People make money. I mean, billion-dollar industries are built off of this.
Exactly. And I think that's why it works, because there is a true sense of desire that's there, but then that little innate desires, just like you said with the food, our innate desire for sweets and innate desire for certain things and calories, and then you take that and you exploit it, so to speak. And then it becomes totally something that it wasn't supposed to be. And so I think because God designed us that way, that innate desire is there. But I think we have to have it grounded in something that's unshakable. I think that's the key.
Yeah, and put it in its proper place.
Exactly. And then kind of also prioritize what's important. Being attractive is important, but ultimately, health is so much more than being attractive, because being able to live out the life with the partner that you do get, or being able to live out the life with your family and with the purpose
with
that
your
you have,
offspring,
with your
that
offspring.
you procreated.
You know, exactly. That's the true desire, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other one is just the hook, but you want the whole fish or the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. And I think this is why coming into the 4-day challenge and really praying to break those limiting beliefs, to break those shallow concepts that we've given our health journey,
Mm-hmm.
and start off with saying, you know what, God, I want to kind of come into my health journey knowing who I am beyond just the superficial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And really just saying, I want to have a foundation, that I want to be healthy, that I want to be a reflection of the glory of God in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to chase the deeper things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what keeps you sustained in this health journey, and you're less likely to fall off of the wagon
Mm-hmm.
when your why is anchored in something like that.
Yeah, because it goes back to your purpose.
It goes back to your purpose. It
Yeah.
goes back to having something that is of value to your core beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
When you have an anchor in your core beliefs, you don't sway as much. And I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. All right.
So, and then you kind of go back to, well, what are some of the damages that happens when we don't have a God-centered self-image?
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things that come out of that is that we develop this unhealthy relationship with food, and with our bodies, where instead of looking at ourselves as God's creation who is on a journey to get better, we self-inflict, we're hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
We more beat ourselves up to get to where we want to get to, rather than God's love and grace that's kind of bringing us into something. We become negative. We're like, I'm overweight, I can't do this. I'd rather die than eat healthy. I've heard that one. I'd rather live it up. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to give up the good food. So if it means I'm going to be so unhappy, I'd rather just eat what I want, be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that goes back to like Joel Furman's live to eat versus eat to live.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so and it's pretty. If you're in that place where all you have to look forward to is what you eat, it's time to really check yourself and do a reset.
Yeah.
Because that is not why God put you on this earth.
Yeah.
God didn't put you on this earth to just live to eat.
Right.
Right. And so that, if you feel that way, that's just an instant indicator. Check. Yeah, you need to stop right now, stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then just go through a reset, because something is wrong. Something is not right with how you see yourself on this earth.
Yeah, and I think that's the relationship with food, that it has so much more control over us than we want to admit.
Yeah.
And those are the type of conversations that come out of our, the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so he is, so he speaks, because you have this relationship with food where you feel you need it. It's filling a void. It's much more than food. So from the surface, it looks like, what? But really deep down, food is filling something that's more than just, this tastes good.
Right.
But it's, a lot of times it's from boredom. A lot of times we get into painful situations, and the food fits that need in that moment.
It could be trauma from
and it
a
could
long
even be
time
trauma,
ago that you've not dealt with.
And you stuff it down with food.
Yeah.
And so food becomes so much more than just
nourishment. Yeah. It becomes your psychologist.
It becomes your psychologist. It becomes your best friend. It becomes, my pick-me-upper when I'm down, or, and sometimes it even becomes this thing is my reward when I do well.
Right.
Food just becomes my all in all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And part of a healthy self-image is kind of putting food where it should be. Yes, food is enjoyable. Yes, food can be social, culturally. You eat a nice meal and you bond. So there is a bonding aspect to it. But we have to be careful that when we can't pull away from the foods that are destroying us, then we realize, wait a minute, there's an abusive relationship there.
Right.
Number one. And then in terms of our body image, when we're saying negative things about ourselves, about I'm overweight, I'll never be able to whatever,
right,
then we realize, wait a minute, we need to stop as well, because I don't think even on our health journey that God would be so unkind to us to be saying, he's not saying those negative things to us, so why are we saying it to ourselves?
right.
And I think that's the question we have to ask ourselves. If God isn't saying, you know, this, that, and the other, then why are we doing it to ourselves?
Right.
And that's part of the rooted in a self-image that makes you very critical, because why? There's a standard that you have to reach. And if you don't meet that standard, then you're substandard. It's black and white. And that's what the culture teaches.
Right.
And
it's
so that
either or.
It's either or. And a God-centered self-image is no, it's not about any of that. It's because I created you, because I love you, because you're rooted in me, not what you're doing and how you're doing it. And we're caught up in our acts, our accomplishments, our failures, our I'm good, I'm bad. And God is saying, no, it's beyond that. It's because I created you in my image. And then if you get secure in that, all of a sudden you start chasing the real things. All of a sudden you start improving, because you're rooted in more of that than you are with the one that's taking you down, that's dragging you down.
It's almost like a solid foundation, versus like a sandy, like
sinking sand.
Sinking sand.
It's sinking sand.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to be in a sinking sand? That's what.
Quicksand.
Quicksand. That's it.
Yeah, that's what
Quicksand.
I was thinking.
Exactly. It's like when you don't have a godly self-image, when you have a self-image that's about what the culture says, which changes every so often.
Right.
Skinny was so in. Now it's the Kardashian bodies in. So people are getting butt implants. And, you know, back in the day, it was never, and this is what I'm saying.
It just changes.
It just changes.
It's a fad.
It's a fad, and that's what I'm saying. So you were super skinny was in at one point. Now it's like, no, it's about curvy and more voluptuous. And so if you're chasing that, you're going to be destroyed in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people are caught in that, where they are chasing the implants and they're trying to get this ideal body to look the part. But I think what we're saying with praying for a godly self-image is that it's not about looking the part, it's about being the part. And what does being the part mean? It's about being as healthy as you can be for who you are. And we're not going to look the same. Every body type is different. And so if I'm going to be my healthiest the way I'm designing, you're going to be healthy the way you design, we could be comfortable in that and accepting of that, and not try to be each other. Yeah, somebody will be a little more thinner, somebody else might be a little, you know.
But that's why we say, when we talk about weight loss in our program, we say help you achieve and maintain a healthy weight. We don't say help you achieve and maintain a size 2.
Yes.
You know, we don't say that. We say help you achieve and maintain a healthy weight, because whatever your healthy weight is for you might be different from me and the next person.
Exactly, because remember, we have different heights, and different
bone structures.
Exactly.
Different genes.
Exactly. But the whole point is that you find your healthy weight.
Right.
And that's the key. And you do it without compromising your soul. You don't have to sell your soul to get your healthy weight. And I think this is where I think that self-image that's not on a good foundation, you almost have to sell your soul to get to that weight. And that's the fad diets. That's the crash. It's the starving yourself.
And this is where the nutrition science meets the faith. The faith piece. Because it's rooted in science. Daniel's diet is rooted in science.
Right.
And so that's where the marriage comes together, where you're eating a nutrition plan, you know, that optimizes your health while, you know, achieving that God-centered self-image spiritually.
Right.
And so that's where the two come together.
Yes, that's a very good point. Because even when you look at Daniel, he was secure in his self. And he wasn't basing it, you know, and he just did what he knew. He acted out from his own self and his relationship with God, and his results came from that.
Yeah.
It wasn't the other way around. You were chasing results and hoping to get the image.
Yeah.
We're saying you're going to already have the image by having the foundation of God, and then the manifestations come from that way. So it comes organically from inward outward.
Yeah, I love that point you made, because I mean, if you think about like Daniel just walked up in there, he's like, "Yo, I don't eat meat and wine and all that. I eat plants and water. You know, I know that's not what you feed like everybody else, and so I want to do something different." I mean, that took courage. It took strength and conviction about you know his lifestyle, and he said, you know, if you don't believe me, let's try it for 10 days.
So he was confident in it.
He was confident because he knew in 10 days he would show that
he'll be good. He'll be fine. Because he's been living that way. He hasn't been indulging in all of these, you know, festive eatings that they were doing. And so he knew that you know what it would be. And so I think that is the kind of confidence that we need, that, you know what, I don't have to chase a fad diet. I don't have to chase, you know, being this ideal look or whatever the case may be, but I could just be secure that God made me perfect for who I need to be. And then I need to eat something that honors that. Because food is, we can't escape food, right? And so it's about what food are you going to eat, making better choices, and how are you going to do that? Because we all need to eat, and I think that's the tricky part with developing a God self-centered image, that food is something that it just evades our everyday life. So we have to address it, but it's just better choices. And I think that's the real conclusion of this whole thing, is that it's eating to edify your body so that you can live out your purpose. I think that's what it is. And a godly self-image allows you to be coming from that solid place, and to be doing it for the right reasons, because that's how it stays long term. When you are eating because you say to yourself, I'm eating so that I can glorify God. I'm eating so that I can stay healthy, so I can live out my purpose. That keeps you on the wagon, I think, because that's a strong why. That's a strong understanding of what you're doing. And it just creates a powerful, unshakable self-image. And I think that's what we're praying for. And we hope that you join us in this 4-day prayer for your health challenge, because praying for a godly self-image is the foundation, I think, to starting your health journey. It sets you off on the right path.